Hey, what's up, Apple Joe here. Today we're going to discuss the brand new 2022 Disney Plus original miniseries, Marvel Studios Project Echo. 5 episodes long, starring Aliquot Cox. She's back as Maya Lopez, aka Echo. We first see her introduced in Hawkeye. She is the pseudo-niece of Kingpin, right? So, it's just an interesting project because no one asked for it in regards to the character. Why we have a full backstory presented to us, it's just very random because there was not like fanfare for the particular character. Like, she's an awesome character introduced with in regards to Echo, but I'm just curious in regards to the marketability because there's no merchandise, there's no action figures, there's no shirts, there's nothing for this project. So I'm curious how this is supposed to be a critical success when there's nothing being spoken about it, nothing projected in the stores for it. It's a great character. It shows great backstory, but I'm just curious where the profit lies in regards to this project moving forward within this character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just weird. It's weird because no one had asked for a spin-off series dedicated to this character. I'm glad we got it, but it's just strange to me because it's like all these past characters from previous projects. Like, why didn't we ever get a Drax miniseries, right, from Guardians? Like, show me his backstory of fighting Ronan and, you know, his wife and child, you know, being unalive. That whole backstory of his. We got a full backstory for Rocket in regards to Guardians 3, but you know, there's so many things, so many characters that we could have been given a 5-episode miniseries for. And it's just strange to me that they decided on Echo to get her own project. It's just, I don't know. I don't see the critical success portion of it when no one had asked for it. It's weird. My other problem with this is that it's associated with Marvel. If this had nothing to do with Marvel, I would have said how incredible it is, how not top of the line, how outside the box in regards to finally representation, you know, for indigenous folk, for people with disabilities, people with who are deaf, who use ASL, sign language, ASL, excuse me, American Sign Language. Like, yes, it's cool that all of that is incorporated within Marvel, but I don't think it's, how do I explain this? Loki Season 2 is the most important thing of Marvel that we've been given since 2008's Iron Man, right? Even dating back to 2000's X-Men, now that we have the multiverse splicing together, right? The fact that Loki has the strands of time, literally, he's the one who holds time in his hands. This is why the time stone is green. It's just everything after Loki Season 2 is irrelevant, story-wise, because we're seeing one person fight one person in an alley, and like, okay, cool, awesome fight scene. But how does this affect the broad spectrum of the cinematic universe when you have two people fighting in an alley? It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to the full story, which is that Loki has the timeline. It's Loki's. Loki's in charge of the timeline. He sacrificed himself to make sure his friends could survive, to make sure everybody else could live within the different timelines. It's just weird to me having to now be happy to see other projects leading to other, you know, larger things. Like, there's an inevitable, you know, other Avenger film that's going to be coming out, and another one after that, and then years from now after that. But what does that have to do with the timeline now? Like, now that we hit Loki Season 2, and the timeline is, if that's the, Loki holds the strands of the universe in his hands. What's the point of everything else? I don't get it. I don't get it. Of course I'm going to watch everything, and of course I'm going to be speaking about everything, but I just don't understand from a story perspective how I'm supposed to be excited for other projects which have nothing to do with the timeline, because it could, anything could change in a matter of seconds. You could reverse time, you could alter reality, you could do anything. So what's the point of showing this particular thing in this particular show or this particular movie after Loki season 2? It's all irrelevant. It's all irrelevant because we know everything can change. So I don't understand how I'm supposed to get upset when a character gets hurt or say, yeah, they did this, awesome. Like, it's just weird to me because it's over. We did it. We won. I don't know. So in regards to this particular show, 5 episodes, we get Maya's backstory. We get the Choctaw Nation, this particular set of Choctaw people, because I know there's 3 different tribes, and this particular one was represented within regards to Oklahoma. And so there was a gorgeous powwow at the end. Like, I'm so happy to see Native American culture represented within a large-scale project. Of course, mainstream media, amazing, finally, giving the due justice, right? Not even just desserts, due justice. We'll just say that, the due. I like the explanation of the Choctaw people ancestrally or from this alternate dimension represented within a cave, and like the story's been passed down from generation to generation. Like, I like that. I like that cultural appreciation, that cultural representation that some people are not familiar with, that can learn from it. You learn one thing about one culture and you're like, huh, I'm curious. And then you look into it and it could be a bunch of other stuff that you're starting to learn. One of my favorite lines about knowledge, if you will, is from Disney's Pocahontas, which is a horrible representation of the actual individual known as Princess Matoaka of the Powhatan people. How the word Pocahontas came from her name changing, I don't understand. But there's a line in one of the songs where she's singing to the character of John Smith. You think the only people who are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn a thing you never knew you never knew. And I love that line because it's so true. There's so much you don't know that you don't even know. And when you start to get a query, you're like, huh, what is this? How does this happen? Where does this begin? Stuff. You learn. The more you start to read, the more you'll learn. It's wonderful. So I'm very happy to see a culture that I'm not familiar with represented within regards to that particular community. That's the only positive thing I can say in regards to this particular project is representation matters, cultural appreciation, cultural explanation. What other Asian can we add to that? I don't even know. My brain's fogged currently. But it's just, I wish this was this anti-hero property that had no association with Marvel, because I think it would be so much better. But because it's associated with Marvel, it's a letdown. Because Loki holds the timeline. Everything after that is irrelevant. I'm sorry. Everything after Loki holding the timeline is irrelevant. I don't care what story happens next, because it's all irrelevant. Unless something happens where Loki has to defend the timeline from something, then that's the only thing that's going to mean something. You know, I'm so happy that different universes are coming together, and the third Deadpool film is going to be hysterical and wonderful, bringing it together in the multiverse. But again, we've already had multiverse films. We've had, multiverse pop-ups with regards to Across the Spider-Verse. Venom we've had in regards to Spider-Man No Way Home, in regards to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Like, we have had various multiverse films, and it's great, it's wonderful, but Loki holds the timeline. Everything else is irrelevant. So again, I wish Echo was celebrated, championed as its own individual anti-hero project within regards to that Choctaw Nation people. It would have been awesome. But because it has that association with Marvel, it's a letdown, because the story has nothing to do with what's going to happen moving forward. What's Echo's character moving forward in regards to an inevitable Avengers battle? Is she going to be joining the Avengers? I see her more as that street level kind of a thing. Daredevil, the street level. He's not going to be a part of the Avengers, or maybe he will be. Who knows? It could change at any moment. Having Matt Murdock in this was pretty cool as well as an Easter egg. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. If it was its own separate project, I would have loved it so much more. But because it's a Marvel, it's a letdown because Loki holds the timeline. I don't know how else to explain it. I think I've said it like 6 times already. I'm repeating myself. I am well aware of that. Echo miniseries season 1, 5 episodes long. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.